Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 7, and this time we are going to present our work in analyzing a poem Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish. Before we start, let me introduce our group member. The first member is Abhyasta Pranaya, the second is Ahmad Kutsi, the third is Bayuhin Alaika, and the last one is Eka Rangga. The first material will be explained by Bayuhin Alaika.
Hello everyone, my name is Bayuhin Alaika Alfaponi. Today I will present a profile of Archibald MacLeish as the creator of the poem Ars Poetica. Now, who is Archibald MacLeish? Archibald MacLeish as a profile of as the creator of the poem Ars Poetica. Archibald MacLeish is an American poet, writer, and public official. Archibald MacLeish born on May 7, 1892 in Clemenceau, Illinois, and passed away on April 20, 1982. MacLeish had a significant impact on American literature and culture throughout the 20th century. He won 3 Pulitzer Prizes for his poetry and was appointed as the Librarian of Congress, a position he held from 1939 to 1944. MacLeish's work often reflected his deep engagement with social and political issues, and he was known for his modernist style and experimentation with form. Some of his notable work include Conquistador, G.B., and Ars Poetica. That's for MacLeish himself, but what about his point for today? This poem is a renowned poem by Archibald MacLeish reflecting on the nature and purpose of poetry. Through its imagery and metaphor, Ars Poetica invites reader to contemplate the power of poetry to transcend time and communicate universal truth. In the poem, MacLeish presents a series of metaphors and images to convey his idea about poetry. He compares poetry to a mute, emphasizing the importance of the unsaid and the power of silence. He also describes poetry as a clear stream of water, suggesting that it should be pure and transparent, free from unnecessary ornamentation. So what about the genre? The poem Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish can be categorized as a modernist poetry. It belongs to the genre of poetry, specifically falling under the subgenre of literary criticism of poetic treatise. The poems focus on abstract concepts, its use of symbolism, and exploration of the nature of art, aligning it with the characteristic of modernist literature. So that's for profile of Archibald MacLeish as the creator of the poem Ars Poetica. Next about lexical thematic, and will be presentation by Eka Rangga Saputra.
Hello everyone, my name is Eka Rangga Saputra, and this time I will explain the lexical thematic dimension. The first is point of view. The point of view in Ars Poetica is authoritative, with the speaker presenting definitive guidelines on the essence of poetry. Through the didactic tone and vivid imagery, they assert their belief about poetry's nature and purpose, positioning themselves as knowledgeable guides for aspiring poets. The speaker's assertions are presented as universal truths, conveyed through concrete metaphors and evocative language. This authoritative stance invites readers to consider and engage with the speaker's vision of poetry, emphasizing the importance of palpable imagery and the idea that poetry should be rather than mean. Next is poetic language. Archibald MacLeish employs various poetic devices to convey his ideas about the essence of poetry. The first poetic language used is imagery. MacLeish's use of imagery appeals to the sense, allowing reader to visualize and experience the concept he presents. For example, in line 1 and 2, a poem should be palpable and mute, as a global truth. He used this imagery to evoke the tactile sensation of holding a fruit in one's hand, while emphasizing the silence or lack of explicit meaning associated with poetry. The next poetic language is simile. Similes compared to unliking using like or as, drawing parallels to enhance understanding. For example, in line 4, as old medallions to the tongue. By comparing poetry with old medal, the simile suggests that poetry should be familiar and tangible as a well-worn coin, inviting the reader to engage with it on a personal level. The next is symbolism. Symbolism involves the use of symbols to represent abstract ideas or concepts. Throughout the poems, MacLeish employs symbolic language to convey deeper meaning. For example, in line 10 and 16, as the moon climbs, it symbolizing the passage of time and the cyclical nature of existence. This symbol underscores the transient and ephemeral quality of poetry, which, like the moon, waxes and wanes in significance. The next poetic language is personification. MacLeish personifies elements such as time and memory, imbuing them with agency and purpose. For example, in line 11 and 12, living, as the moon releases, twig by twig, the night entangled trees. This personification suggests that the moon actively participates in the process of unraveling the night, highlighting its role as a symbolic force in shaping the world. And the last poetic language is metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech that implies a comparison between two unlike things without using like or as. MacLeish employs metaphorical language to convey the essence of poetry. For example, in line 23 and 24, a poem should be not mean, but be. When he says that line, he metaphorically compares poetry to existence itself. This metaphor suggests that poetry transcends mere literal meaning and instead embodies the essence of human experience. The next material would be explained by Ahmad Qudsi.
Hello everyone, my name is Ahmad Qudsi Tafansa. In this section, I will explain the meter of Ars Poetica from Archibald MacLeish. Meter in poetry is like a beat or rhythm. Just like music has a steady beat, poetry has a pattern of stress, strong and unstressed, weak syllables that create a rhythmic flow. It is the heartbeat of a poem, making it sound smooth and musical when read aloud. Different types of meter give poems different feelings and moods, just like different types of music have different rhythms. Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish is a classic poem that delves into the essence and nature of poetry itself. Let's break down its meter. The poem is written in free verse, meaning it doesn't stick strictly to a specific meter or rhyme scheme. However, there are elements of rhythm and structure that contribute to its overall effect. First stanza. The first part flows like regular speech, with lines like a poem should be palpable and mute, sounding like a conversation rather than a strict rhythm. Just in case, this poetry by Archibald MacLeish doesn't have specific meter or rhyme. Shorter lines, such as a globe fruit and dumb, act like pauses, drawing attention to the imagery. The author's use of description and vivid language, deepening the reader's understanding of the world by appealing to the senses. Second stanza. This part also feels conversational but has a bit of rhythm to it, especially with lines like a poem should be motionless in time as the moon climbs. Obviously, the lines has a bit of a rhythm because the lines repeated 2 times to persuade the readers or the listeners. The repetition of living as the moon gives a sense of continuity, like a story unfolding. These lines experiencing an imagery itself. Living as the moon means the sun will rise and night turn into day. Third stanza. The last part keeps the casual tone but has a strong message. Lines like for all the history of grief and for love contrast with each other. The lines links and have a stress syllable to explain the stanza. The last line, a poem should not mean, but be, drives home the idea that poetry is more about experiencing than explaining. So overall, Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish talks about poetry in a way that feels like a friendly chat, emphasizing images and feelings over strict rules, gives tuning imagery to the readers or the listeners, so they can feel the imagery in every stanza. Again, this poetry doesn't have a specific meter, mostly read like a regular speech. So it's all from me. Thank you guys.
Hello everyone, my name is Abhyasta Pranemadika, and today I'm going to talk about the poem Ars Poetica by Archibald MacLeish, specifically focusing on its rhyme scheme. This poem is quite unique because it doesn't follow a regular rhyme pattern. Instead, it uses a mix of perfect and slant rhymes to create a more complex rhythm. Now, let's take a look at how the rhyme works in this poem. As we can see, this is the rhyme scheme of this poem, and this poem is consists of 3 stanzas. Now, let's break it down stanza by stanza. Stanza 1. A poem should be palpable and mute as a globe fruit, dumb as old medallions to the thumb, silent as the sleep-worn stone of casement ledges where the moss has grown. A poem should be wordless as the flight of birds. These first stanzas have an AABBCCDD rhyme scheme. The rhymes mute and fruit, thumb and dumb are perfect rhymes, where the word end in the same sound. The rhymes stone and grown and words and birds are slant rhymes because they sound similar but not exactly the same. Now, let's move to stanza 2. A poem should be mentionless in time as the moon climbs, living as the moon releases, twig by twig, the night entangled trees. Living as the moon behind the winter leaves, memory by memory the mind. A poem should be mentionless in time as the moon climbs. In this stanza have an A B B C D A rhyme scheme. The rhyme, time and climbs and releases and trees are perfect rhymes, while the rhyme lives and mine are slang rhymes. Stanza 3. A poem should be equal to, not true, for all the history of grief, an empty doorway and a maple leaf. For love, the leaning grasses and twilight above the sea. A poem should not mean but be. In this stanza have an A B B C D D D rhyme scheme as well. The rhymes true and sadness, live and grief, love and above, and meaning and be are all slang rhymes. MacLeish used rhymes to make the poem sound nice. He makes rhymes that sound the same like milk and fruit with one they almost sound the same like stone and crown. This sound makes the poem flow smoothly and sounds good.
Okay, that's all from our presentation. If you have a question or a feedback, you can submit it below. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.